A big thanks to PackyWeb Ford for making this video possible. If you're in the market for a brand new or used Ford, definitely check out PackyWeb Ford in Downers Grove. Their URL is on the screen and in the description below. Today I'm behind the wheel of a 2020 Ford Edge, and this is a two-row midsize SUV from Ford. Now, in my opinion, the Edge gets overlooked because of the bigger brother, the three-row Explorer, which has been redesigned for 2020. And of course, underneath the Edge, then you have the new Escape, which was also redesigned for 2020. This one happens to be the top trim level, the Ford Edge ST, which is the performance variant of the Edge. And I think this is in a class of its own for many reasons, and I'm gonna let you guys know why. So let's start out with the outside, because to me, this Edge ST is one of the best looking midsize SUVs out there. It really separates itself from the millions and millions of Manila crossovers that you see every day. Now, starting with the front end, it definitely has an aggressive look, mostly because it's all blacked out. For 2019, the Edge was refreshed, and in 2020, it carries over, but it has a new grille design, new lower bumper design, the headlights, everything has been redesigned, and it looks sleek, it looks aggressive. On this ST, you get LED headlights, also LED fog lights, LED daytime running lights, everything is LED. Now, moving to the side, I like this profile. And again, everything is blacked out, from the window trim to the handles to the side skirts underneath to those large wheels, those 21-inch wheels. Now, they're not standard, they're optional, but man, do they look good. Everything just really flows and matches well, and this Edge ST has a really nice stance. Now, moving to the back, you have a large spoiler on top, a shark fin antenna. Again, everything is blacked out. And then underneath, take a look at those dual chrome exhaust tips. Really unique. They're not circular, and they're kind of like, you know, rectangle shape, but in a vertical fashion. And it just really separates the Edge from the other SUVs out there. Now, moving to the inside, Ford did a really good job with this Edge ST. I think it looks elegant, it looks sporty, and it's quite spacious. Let's start out with the trunk. Actually, the trunk is massive. Take a look at how large the trunk is. Underneath, you do have a spare tire and some spare room for some extra stuff. On the side, you do have some cubby holes, very small ones. You have a 12V outlet and also a one-touch fold for the second row. They do fold down, they slam down really fast, but they don't come back up. But at least you do get that, and the liftgate is powered. Now, moving to the second row, everything is covered in leather. And I love the way the leather looks with the stitching, with the white stitching on the door panels, on the seats. They look really good, and the seats themselves, they have a suede insert within. It just looks sporty, and they match the seats up front, which is even more sporty. And as for space, I'm 5'10", and it feels pretty nice in the second row. I have about 3 inches of legroom left, about the same with headroom. My only nitpick about the second row is I feel like there are some compact SUVs out there with more legroom than this Edge. So I wish Ford would actually move the seats back a little bit, take a little bit from the cargo room, and give more legroom in the second row. As for features in the second row, you pretty much get everything. You get a pair of vents, also heated seats, which is part of a 401 optional package. You get a lot with it. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit, but you do get heated seats in this one. Also, you get a 12V outlet and a household outlet. Unfortunately, no USB ports, but you can buy your own adapter or bring your own adapter and plug it in right in the back. Now, moving up here, looks just like the second row. Looks really nice. Good combination of luxury and sportiness. I like the use of this chrome trim with the black leather, with the white stitching. I think it just matches really well. Now, the seats up here look a bit more sporty than the second row. You do have ST that's in the middle, so that's how you can tell this is the ST version, but you still see the cloth inserts in the middle that's meant to hold you in. The bolstering is very aggressive. Some of you guys are on the bigger side or you have a wide back. This may get a little bit uncomfortable. bottom cushion also, it does hug your hips. I feel like I'm at the limit of how much it can handle. So again, those of you guys on a wider side, you may find this a bit too aggressive. But for me, I think it's still very nice. It does hold me in. I do not slide around on the seat, and it feels good. My only one nitpick is I was trying to adjust the seat. It's a 10-way power adjusting seat, and I can't adjust it any lower. I feel like I should be able to go a bit lower, but I can't. Now the steering wheel, of course, is leather wrapped, and it feels nice. It has that same look with the white stitching. I like that. On the bottom, you have some chrome and it says ST. So it's a little bit different from the regular steering wheel and the regular Edge. Now the gauge cluster is dominated by 2 screens and a giant speedometer in the middle. That's pretty standard, but you have a screen on the right and a screen on the left. The screen on the right controls entertainment, navigation, and phone. Also little details like clock and temperature, and you could scroll through and adjust whatever you want. And on the left side, you do have the other essential stuff like your tachometer, your fuel, and your temperature. And also you can look at other things like settings, your driver assistant features, and your trip computer and all that. So it is separated between the 2 screens. I think the gauge cluster looks good. Of course, if it was fully digital, that would be better. But I have tested a fully digital one in Explorer ST, and I did feel like that one was a little bit laggy at times. So I think this setup may be better. Now moving to the middle, you have an 8-inch touchscreen infotainment system, Sync 3. Now all Edges get an 8-inch screen, so it's no different in the ST. The interface is okay. It's not the most responsive, not most modern, but it's easy to figure out. There's large navigation buttons on the bottom, audio, climate, phone, navigation, pretty easy to figure out. You don't have to fumble through a lot of things. Now underneath the screen, you do have like a surround view camera system. It's not a fully 360, but if you press that, you can see in front of you, and you could see a 180 view in front of you. So you could see the side and the middle. And of course, if you go in reverse, you can see behind you, but you really don't see what's to the left or right of you. So it's not a complete 360 view, but it's a partial one, and it's nice. Now underneath, you have some manual buttons for climate control, like auto, your defroster settings, and AC, those kind of stuff. And you do have ventilated seats and heated seats in here. Now, the ventilated seats is part of that 401 optional package group that I talked about. That one actually adds a lot. It adds ventilated seats, wireless charging, panoramic sunroof, rear heated seats. It adds an adaptive cruise control and a few other things. So that package is probably one that you should consider, but it is a little costly because it's coming in around $5,000. But I'm going to talk more about pricing at the end of this video. Underneath the ventilated heated seat buttons, you do have some more buttons for fan control and temperature. And underneath that, there's a cover. You can open it up. Inside, that's where you find a wireless charger and 2 USB ports. Now, in terms of shifter, it's a rotary setup. I've gotten used to it since I've driven other Fords before. Underneath that, you have parking brake. You also have the engine auto start stop disable. You do have a button that is for the self parking. If you need help with parking, press that button and the Edge will tell you what to do. Now, the cabin I already talked about. I like the use of chrome with the black leather, with the white stitching. The only problem is this bezel around this infotainment screen is just regular plastic, and it does not look good. It makes the whole cabin feel a little bit cheap just from this. That's it. If this bezel around the infotainment screen was just changed to piano black, it would look 100 times better. But because it's not, it kind of makes the dash a little cheap. So that's like a $5 upgrade for Ford, and they should really consider changing that in the future. Now, what about the drive? Well, the drive is another reason why this Edge ST is in a class of its own. It's a really nice drive. And I'm not even talking about the engine acceleration yet, because I'm going to test it in a little bit. But right when I got in, I noticed how quiet it is in here. Ford did an amazing job with installation. I mean, amazing job. It is really, really, really quiet in here. I don't hear any wind noise at all, none. Cars passing by, none. The only thing I hear is road noise, and that's probably from these optional wheels. Audio system in here is also amazing. I was blasting the music. I'm not gonna do so on camera because it's not gonna come out well, but there's a sub in the back, 12 speakers, and you know what, those of you guys that love to crank it up, the audio system in here is amazing, and because of how quiet it is in here, the combination really works well together. The steering and suspension also is really well tuned in here, and I really enjoy both. The steering wheel I talked about, the steering wheel feels good, although it's not as thick as the one in the Explorer ST. I think that one felt a little bit better, but this will do for most people. But the steering feel itself is quite nice. It has a good heft, it's not very light, and it's very precise. There's not a lot of play in the steering wheel, anything beyond something like this, and I start feeling it. So the steering has a good precise feeling, it has a good weight to it, and it makes me feel like, you know what, I'm in control of this Edge. And the suspension is soaking up everything. I'm really surprised because, again, I'm driving an Edge with 21-inch wheels, and I've driven other cars before with 21-inch wheels, and it is quite bumpy. It's really bumpy. It's more for looks and show, right? But this one, this Edge is soaking up most of these bumps really good. Unless it's a really big pothole, it's actually a comfortable drive. It's a really comfortable drive, so I'm actually surprised by the suspension. The brakes also feel good. They're a little bit stiffer, so it takes a little bit more pressure, but beyond that, it's good. It stops when you expect it to. Now, in terms of safety features, this Edge pretty much gets it all. You do get pre-collision, this auto braking, lane assist, also blind spot monitoring, rear sensors, and this one you get front sensors. So pretty much all that is included absolutely free. Now, adaptive cruise control unfortunately isn't, but that's part of the 401 optional package that this Edge ST is equipped with, so it does have it. But for the most part, you get everything in here, and that is really nice. The last thing that sets this Edge apart is the engine. A normal Edge gets a 250 horsepower turbocharged engine, and there's nothing wrong with that engine. It may seem like it's a little down on power, but because it's turbo and the quick torque, actually feels okay. But this one comes with a twin turbo V6 at 2.7 liter, pushing 335 horsepower. 335. That is definitely a lot of power. Now, of course, it's not on a crazy level like the SRT levels, but for a normal family two-row SUV where you want a bit more pep, you want it to be more lively, more fun, you want to have more passing power, you go get that in the ST. So next, let's test out 0 to 60 and see how good it is. Yeah, that acceleration was pretty good, pretty good. It's not on the same level as the Explorer ST, which has 400 horsepower, but this is pretty lively acceleration in a pretty big midsize SUV. So it definitely felt quicker than the other ones I've tested in this class. For example, like a Honda Passport or a Nissan Murano. So the last thing I want to talk about is price. Now, a base Edge ST starts around $43,000, which is up there. Now, this one I'm driving is equipped with that 401A package. It gives you a lot of niceties, right? Also, there's another $1,000 for 21-inch wheels, which are optional. And there's a few other little stuff here or there. So this one is actually coming in over $50,000. But with that said, there's a lot of incentives going on, and Ford is being very aggressive with its pricing. So you can see with this one I'm driving, even from the website itself, it's discounted heavily, so it brings the price back down to the lower 40s. And at that price range, this is definitely a bargain, considering that this is in a class of its own in terms of engine, how it drives, how it feels, and also how it looks. This is definitely a winner. To conclude, the Ford Edge ST is a very good two-row midsize SUV that is great for families and is in a class of its own when it comes to looks, power, and the drive. There are a few shortcomings, such as the legroom in the second row, questionable choice of trim pieces for the dash, and narrow sports seats, but they are minor and the good more than makes up for them. I'm giving the Edge ST an overall score of 98. To see how it ranks among its peers, check out driversonlyrankings.com. Thanks for watching, hit the like and subscribe to the channel for more reviews, first looks, and news.